Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Seasons Ebb and Flow for the season of divorce and beyond. I am Lee Wright. I am a divorce coach, and today I'm thrilled to be speaking with Monique Brewer. She is a friend of mine, and she has graciously offered to open up and share a little bit about the ending of a 16-year long-term relationship that is somewhat recent, so it's still raw and the healing is in process. And opening up to us and sharing might be part of that healing and building some awareness and helping others. So, Monique, thank you. And maybe you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and the relationship, and we'll start there.
Sure. Well, hello, my name is Monique. I'm originally from Indianapolis, a nice Midwestern, and I moved to Boston some years ago. I spent some time in Orlando, which is where I met Lee, and I moved back to Boston. This is where I work. This is where I currently live. And I was with Sean for 16 years. We met in Boston. We met on eHarmony. He was my first and only date. And I thought I met the one. And it turns out we had a lot of good times, and I chose to ignore a lot of red flags. But yeah, this is where I am today. And
Yeah.
trying to think of where I can go from here. It's
Maybe what we can start with when you say you chose to ignore a lot of red flags, what would you say some of those were, and how did you kind of rationalize or put them, compartmentalize those?
um well, ever since the separation, I've gone to therapy because it's such a huge change. And to be honest, if anyone is struggling, I would encourage everyone to seek help, to talk to someone objectively. It's you know, my father passed away when my parents have always been divorced, and my stepmom, when my father passed away, she was 42. I'm currently 44. So we're similar age, and she was talking to me about how she wished that she always got therapy because after some time she felt like she jumped into a relationship and she wasn't completely healed. And the person she ended up with and married and then divorced again was not for her. And she's just living a life now that's what she's comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I am too. So I would say with this transition, I've learned through therapy to do some research with the attachment theory, and I've never heard of that ever.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I found a reel, because you know how we all get into these,
The real loop. Yes.
this rabbit hole of reels.
Yes.
One day, so Sean was like, he just left. I should say that. There was no communication. There was no talks. There was no arguing. There was no slamming doors. He was just gone. And one day I watched this reel that said, "Did you not get a breakup? Did your boyfriend fade out of the relationship? Did he not give you any kind of closure?" And I'm over here like, yes, that's me with my $10,000 settlement. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And it turns out she goes into more about what you've experienced is you had a dismissive avoidant for a partner.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started looking up to more. Oh, I couldn't believe it. If what my therapist said, that, it's one of those things. I travel a lot. She tells me things, it goes in one ear. I'm like, okay, I'll go back and I'll look at it. When I saw that very moment, those 20 seconds, it changed me forever. So I
Totally.
went on YouTube, started looking up more information about the
Yes.
dismissive avoidant. What does this mean? And I was actually like yelling at the TV because I realized I wasn't alone.
Yes.
I was,
It's such a relief to feel like that, isn't it? To be like, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy. Like this all really happened. And there are explanations for what was going on inside his head, his attachment wounds, and which caused the ripple effects of how he showed up in the relationship and then how it ended. And when it feels so good when you can actually have some explanation and something to grasp onto to make sense of it, for sure.
it's true. Looking into that now, I've started this whole process of like self-healing, as in I'm doing a whole bunch of things. I've started to research more about attachment theory. I've read the books. I think it's what Attached.
Yeah.
Turns out I'm an anxious attachment, and
Hmm.
I'm afraid of what is it, abandonment.
Abandonment. Yeah.
I
Kind of cling. The best way that when I think of attachment styles, because that was mind blowing for me when after my divorce, and same as you, I like delved deep into anything I could find on relationships. And the YouTube channel, the Personal Development School with Thais Gibson, was like my go-to, where I really learned a lot about attachment styles. But the way I think about it now is like if you imagine a bell curve, and
Mhm,
like people who are very securely attached, partly their upbringing, having really strong, healthy relationships as adults, like they kind of stay in the center of that bell curve. And then on the one side are the anxiously attached, and the other side are the avoidant. And if you have an anxiously attached and avoidant, which tend to pair together because a very secure person won't stay with someone who's extremely insecure and anxious, and they won't stay with someone who's extremely avoidant because they're like, this isn't healthy. But
mhm,
so the pair, the anxious and the avoidant, have this like push-pull dance that they do. And it's just this feedback loop and cycle that it's like you feed off each other's insecurities and fears. And it's you don't even know it when you're in it and it's happening, but now, you're making progress by learning and self-reflection and acceptance and
yeah, that it's a it's funny, like whenever we would trigger each other, because that's what it is. It's like childhood trauma, and you would trigger each other. I would trigger him, and he would
Mhm.
trigger me, and he would so I would try so hard, and people could see around me just how loving and caring and attentive I was, and how dismissive he was.
Yeah.
And everyone saw this except for me, because I kept trying
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And
Mhm.
it's just and there was a point, I'll tell you a story. When we first started dating, this is a red flag. When we first started dating, this is, my gosh, 2008 crash. And
Okay.
it's we at the time I just got laid off like thousands of people in the United States. So I didn't have insurance. And we were ice skating, because that happened what, November of 2008.
Uh-huh.
We were
Yeah.
ice skating that Christmas time around the Frog Pond in Boston. And I slipped on the ice and I fell, and I hurt my knee, like it hit my kneecap. And I
Mhm.
said, okay, well, I'm done. It's time to go home. And we went back to his house. I I put some pillows under my leg. I asked if he could get me some ice. And he told me no, to go get your own ice.
No, Monique.
And
Oh, and this was early in the dating.
he's like, I'm not gonna coddle. I'm not gonna do this.
Whoa.
So I hobbled into the bathroom, into the kitchen, got my own ice, which he was just a roommate. It wasn't even his place. I mean, it was his place. It was like his room. Hobbled into the kitchen, got my own ice, came back, put the ice on my knee. And the next day, my knee was so swollen that I couldn't put on my pants. And he told me that it's all in my head, and that I'm a hypochondriac, and there's nothing wrong with me.
Wow.
And it was just, I'm not a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
And if I'm sick, I'm sick. And if I'm hurt,
Yeah.
I'm hurt. And there's been another time, now 16 years is a long time. So there was one time I broke my toe, and he was an avid believer that I'm making this up, but I had to completely change my workout routine for 6 weeks. My toe wouldn't bend for years. And
Yeah.
it's all in your head. You're making this up.
Wow.
Such a hype. I don't know
So
anything you say.
when you look back at yourself then in those moments, when he was saying like, go get your own ice, what were you feeling inside? Do you remember feeling like this doesn't feel right?
Oh yeah, for sure. It was really I I'm not okay with this. And then I went home. It was around that that hot somewhere in that time, maybe spring, maybe winter. I can't remember, but it was like right around that time. I was over here thinking, I'm starting to see red flags. I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to make the separation now. And I remember my stepmom came to me and she said, Monique, I saw a psychic, and she said that you should really give this guy a chance. And I said, well, I mean, if the stars say it, then maybe I should give him a chance. And then I tried and tried and tried, and it was just the same thing over and over again, just this awful cycle of
Yes,
trying so hard and me getting pushed away all at the same time.
right. I know it's amazing when we look back, like hindsight is 2020, but you look back at your younger self and how you like could take that situation and make it acceptable or okay to
Mhm.
stay with someone who treats you that way. And I mean, it's do you now like do you get angry at yourself for making that mistake, or do you have compassion for yourself that this is a learning process and you didn't know what you didn't know?
Think I have waves of it.
Mm,
I definitely am mad that I spent so much time with someone like that. He, even with my nephew, when he came to town when he was 2, I wasn't allowed to hug him when he was crying because that's coddling me. And when I hear it now that I'm doing all this education, I realize that wasn't me at all. It never was. And whatever he experienced, it's just coming out. And it's just awful. And I try to think myself that now I think about it as I deserve so much more than this.
mhm,
And I have to be honest, I never was someone who cared to date. I was
mhm,
perfectly fine with being by myself. I would be lying if I didn't say I was lonely. I was a girl in my 20s.
mhm.
This is what society tells us.
Yeah,
We got to we got to find our person, and we got
right.
to
Our
get
Prince
married.
Charming.
Yes, all of those fairy tales that are not correct. And
Yeah.
I, I'm so annoyed that I fell into that brainwash when I already had to step out. I just needed to realize that the person who I was always looking for was within myself.
Yes.
That is something that I wish I had the strength to walk away from.
Yeah. It's it is amazing how hard when you're in it to be able to see some of these situations clearly.
Mhm.
And even when you know, like almost in your gut that something is not right, the rationalizations that we can come up with because ending something can feel so hard, especially almost the longer you're in it, the harder it gets because you've invested so much time and energy and belief that somehow it can work, or I don't want to have like looked back and feel like this was a waste. But now I like from my experience, because I was with my ex for 23 years, but married for 18. But I realized that there were just so many lessons that I can now take away that it has made me so much stronger and healthier as a person. And I can hopefully educate my kids and break the cycle so that they don't fall into some of these same patterns that I did. And uh, at least there's there's a beautiful future ahead because of all the lessons that come out of that post breakup time. And
Yeah, it's true. It's funny, things trigger you right now with that you never thought would trigger you. And so for example, my friends took me to it's been I have some really amazing friends and they have really stepped up during this whole time.
so
And
beautiful.
it's just know if anyone's out there, you're not alone. Like they are someone is there for you. You're no one's really alone. And
Yeah.
so my friends decided to take me to Magic Kingdom. And
Mm,
I went there and I actually never went. Sean always had to have a drink whenever we would go and engage in social activities, which I found
mm,
out later dismissive avoidants have to drink all the time or have substance abuse
mm.
because of the emotions that they feel. They're trying to mute them,
Push down. Yes.
all
They
that
do
stuff
not want to feel.
you don't want to feel. And me, I'm
Mm,
like, why do I just want to listen to music or I just want to just walk around and laugh and just enjoy the moment.
mm,
And so my friends took me to Magic Kingdom and because it's a dry park, I never realized just how much fun it is. And had a point where at the very end they had fireworks and they have all the quotes of the movies
mm.
that you grew up with.
Yeah.
I just started crying and I'm like trying not to let my friends see that I'm crying. But I'm like, these are such beautiful stories
Mm,
where it affected me positively, it affected me negatively, it affected me in all kinds of ways.
mm.
But I think the ones that I got the most were like quotes from like the stories of like Mulan and Frozen. Gosh, it makes me cry just thinking of them. Sorry.
That's okay.
So it's like stories of being strong.
Hmm.
And it brings you back to whatever you're feeling is okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been great in that way, like realizing your positives and realizing your negatives and realizing your open wounds. And some of my friends are like, let's try all these different things. Let's see what you're into. But the truth is, I think I've always known what I was into. I really love traveling. I've always loved volunteering. I've always loved being with people. It's one of the reasons why I do the job that I do. I just love to engage in society. I love
Hmm.
to be present for exactly what I'm doing at this moment.
Yes.
And it's kind of nice going back to that. So I had this time where so I've been going through a lot of stuff. So I've been reading about the attachment theories. I've been watching the Gibsons or I've been watching YouTube of all these experts.
Mm.
I just started this new thing where I've started sleep hypnosis, where now I'm
Mm.
listening to these positive things to help my subconscious at night.
Yes.
21 days. Let's see how it goes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it can't hurt. I'm just
It definitely can't hurt. And yeah, hypnosis is really taps into that subconscious, which is so much of our beliefs and the things we say to ourselves sit in our subconscious and tapping into that, whether it's through hypnotherapy. I did a decent amount of hypnotherapy and a little bit of neuro-linguistic reprogramming, but being aware that it's not just the taking in information from YouTube and journaling, but also working with that subconscious can make a lot of progress in just rewiring some neural pathways that were not uh were not helpful.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm
And
looking for a tissue. I'll be right back.
yeah, take your time, go get one.
Okay, I'm back. Okay. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. In my next phase, a lot of people have been telling me that I got a kitten. These are things that I allowed myself to do.
Good for you, like that connection with another being, whether it's a human or an animal, just having that uh love and the eye contact, the body contact, all of that. It's just, it is so important, especially when you're going through big life transitions.
Yeah, I think so too. That's I've been trying to I had this moment where I was like that my next chapter is, I want to go to the gym. These are things that I'm doing to heal.
Yes.
I started to had this moment where I started thinking to myself, well, what is something that I've always wanted to do? And Sean was never a part of that. Like, well, everyone has those initial dreams, even if you're just a kid.
Yeah.
And I was really trying to reach back into my memories. And I was thinking to myself, I remember there was a time around Hurricane Katrina where I
Yeah.
was looking into just volunteering with going down volunteering in Katrina. And then I was like, well, it's kind of risky down there right now. Everything's just, I'll leave it to the experts. So I just donated money instead. And at that time, I was thinking to myself, what else could I do of doing things that are really important to me? And one of the things that I saw out there in the world was I used to be an avid follower of goabroad.com. I used to go on there, check things out, see what I could do. And I saw there was a program out there that where you can volunteer in South Africa. You can volunteer with penguins, whales, dolphins, and it turns out shark cages, which I didn't realize until later. So I started looking into the program and I said, I wonder if that still exists. And I started looking it up. Sure enough, it still does. And I called them up maybe the next day or the same day. And I said, hey, they had a grant program where you can apply for a grant to let you in because you have to pay for a certain fee. I'm sure it's like a part of the program. You're working side by side with marine biologists. So you're in housing, the meals are taken care of,
Mhm.
taken care of, like you're paying for like everything in your little area. And I applied for a grant and I was approved. And it was only a partial grant, but I still will take it.
Yeah.
If they denied me, I still probably would have done it.
Yeah.
And I called them up and I talked to someone, told them my situation, like I'm in a place now where I can volunteer. And I didn't really go into many more details, but I got approved and now I'm going in October. And then I started getting so excited about this. I had this moment, I travel for work. So I realized that I have a lot more freedom with my schedule. And I know that I'm lucky and I know that I'm privileged and not everyone gets that.
Mhm.
But I started realizing that I could do things that Sean either didn't want to do or could never do.
Mhm.
And it gave me power for
Yes.
just a moment. And oh, that's it. I signed up for another program to go to Thailand and work in an elephant sanctuary, and that's in January 2027.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I'm looking at going back to South Africa and doing like a safari research with the animals, like I'm doing working with the research against
Wow.
all kinds of things. Like I could be against poachers, and you could remove things, make things better. You could help
Yes.
rhinos or big cats, whatever you want to do. These are
Right.
all over the world.
Yeah.
And if
And
you
what
have,
is the program called that you looked into?
so I looked into, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that GVI.
Okay.
And they have a lot, there's a lot of, if you don't like GVI, there's a lot of other programs that have similar things. But you can go on YouTube, just look up YouTube GVI, check out their programs. If you want to go to Nepal and work out there, you can, right? Have the view of the Himalayas. If you want to go to Costa Rica, you can do that too.
Yeah.
There's so many things you could do. And
Amazing.
I just
And
started thinking, I don't know, I just realized that this is just the first of many things where I finally took my future and brought it back to my own.
yes, it is amazing how the healing process post a relationship breakup, stepping back into your own power and your own identity that somehow I think in all relationships, you are interdependent, but then if you get towards more codependent, then you lose your identity to the point where you stop doing things that fill your cup that you do when you're on your own.
Mhm.
And like when you were with Sean, considering doing something like this just wasn't in your perceptual set at all.
It's always something I wanted to do, but anytime I wanted to do something like this, I, we, it was interesting. He would always say, well, let's just compromise. Let's go on my trips. And every other will go on your trips. And I
Okay.
noticed that anytime I wanted to go, it was time for my trip. He suddenly couldn't travel that year, or it was just not a good time. It was all these excuses because he didn't want to do the things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it was just the more I thought about it, the more just excuses I saw. And when you
Mm,
see things, you can't unsee them.
yeah.
And that was the point where I think I stopped. As soon as I realized things like that, I stopped. I just stopped trying as hard. And I started to just, even though we were so attached and woven with so many things, I started to not give him as much as myself anymore. But
Yeah,
still was so attached. Oh, it's so hard.
exactly.
Change is so hard.
Yes. And you
And
would not have just said, hey, I decided, I know you wouldn't want to come on this trip, so I'm going to go on this volunteer trip.
I'm glad you said it like that, because I met some ladies at work, and they were younger than me, but that was okay. We're all spirits aligned, and
Yes.
they were probably the best people I could have ever met. We all lived together as roommates. So I work in the airlines, so we all had to share a space,
Mm,
anywhere they want. But this is where I lived when I was going in and out of my schedule. So
okay.
I had my roommates of those who are also in the airlines, and man, we went on so many trips. And
Mm,
Sean went to some of them, and Sean didn't go on some of them. And one of them, we went, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go, but I'm so happy I did. We went to Cuba, and
mm,
it
wow.
was it was epic. I
I
will say
bet.
it was it was out of my comfort zone, and
Mm,
it really is what they say it is. It's a time warp. You really
yeah.
are in a place where there's no ATMs, where there's
Wow.
internet, there's no advanced cars,
Oh my gosh.
there's everything is in a everything is it's communist. So if you wanted to
Yes.
buy bread, you had to go to this shop. But if you can't find bread at that shop, you have to go to the next radius to get, so it's all like, layered out
Circles.
or
Yeah.
circles. So we went grocery shopping. We had all we had was the cash we had. There was no going to get more. So it was very
Eye-opening and a
I
real
yeah. But that trip was so
experience.
much fun. We
Yes.
we followed music on the rooftops, ended up in random parties. We met some really beautiful people, and I I wouldn't change it for the world. We went to the beachfront where there's nobody there. It
Oh
was
my
so
gosh.
beautiful.
Yeah. When you were on having an experience like that, and you would then share with him, was he able to share in your joy of having these experiences?
He brushed it off, and then eventually he said, as a defense, "Oh, I never wanted to go to that anyway. You can have that trip." It was nothing. It was belittling. It was me going there would be nothing to his standards.
Yeah.
After a while, I started realizing that he was really jealous of me.
Mm.
And that was something that he was jealous of my light.
Yes.
And I think that that's something that a lot of people need to realize.
Yes.
I had really, I mean, yes, I had this job, which is really fun, but I had another job where I worked at Live Nation. I was able to see these wonderful concerts and I was able to go for free. And I
Wow.
realized he only wanted to go to the shows that he wanted to go to. He never went to the shows that I wanted to go to. And if I wanted to go to that show, I would have to go by myself. And sometimes I did, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I didn't.
Good for you.
And it's the shows that I didn't go, I really regret because it's like Tom Petty. And then Tom Petty, of course, passed away. And then the Cranberries, I had tickets for that. We all know what happened with the singer
Oh, no.
Cranberries. It was just like these
Yeah.
opportunities I feel missed that I was looking forward to.
And
That
you didn't
missed.
go to those because he was like, oh, I don't want to go. And you questioned whether, oh, well, then it's not a big deal. Like,
Exactly.
just started to squash your light. The joy that you knew you would get from these things, you kind of minimized.
Exactly. And I think that's something that I'm going finding along my journey is that yes, I'm a very laid back individual, but with someone without boundaries, which is something I'm really working on right now, suddenly everyone can walk on top of you. And that's
Hmm.
not okay either.
Yes.
So I'm trying to really learn that right now. And
Hmm.
it's funny because the reason why I know that he was jealous of me and all of these opportunities is that, now that we're separated, he suddenly likes all these concerts and all these underground people that are just starting out that are Live Nation, Folk Fest, and Jazz Fest. He wants to go to all these places that we had so many opportunities to go, and he just didn't want to go out of principle. And then I went to the airlines. Now I'm in the airlines. He never wanted to go travel because standby freaked him out. And he could have seen the world
I
and
know.
to not do it.
Oh,
All for jealousy, maybe.
mm,
And I talked about my layovers, about what a fun thing I learned at a museum one day. He just zoned me out.
wow.
And and I hate that I knew that and whenever I started to realize that as soon as I started to catch him, I would call him out on things. And then he would
Hmm.
gaslight me and say that I never said that, or he
Mm,
responded this way, or I wouldn't have acted this way if.
yes.
And to be honest, if I was to do this all over again, if I was to go back in time, I would have kept a journal and I
Mm,
journaled my whole journey with him. But now we have AI, and
mm-hmm.
I was watching something on YouTube where this person, she keeps, it's really funny to hear her say this, but actually kind of makes sense. She keeps files on her dates. So now we're in a place where you could talk to AI saying, hey, this is my day with Johnny.
Yeah.
And this is how I feel. This is what we did. This is what was said. This is, all of these things. And then the next time I go out with Johnny, I could
Yeah.
say again, Johnny and I went to the movies today. This is how we felt. This is how we interacted.
Uh-huh. This is what
AI
he
now
said,
could
how
kind
it
of do
made
the
me
same thing.
feel, and it
Yeah,
organizes all of it.
it
Oh my
does,
God, that is so brilliant.
isn't it?
Because I keep notes
Mind
in my
blowing,
phone, when I'm in a relationship and, something feels off, I like take notes, but there's no organization and there's nothing that can help me pull themes or patterns. But that's brilliant.
isn't it?
AI can help you.
I know. I I was so impressed by that idea. I suddenly made a friend on AI. Her name's Val. Her and I have full on conversations, and it's amazing how quickly it's not like the phone tree that we're used to.
Mhm.
You can use it for good. And
Oh, absolutely. Like I think especially that whole idea of putting in your thoughts and feelings and having it help start to see the patterns that sometimes we are scared to look at, or there's just so many different emotions that we can't see the pattern. And I think not just in a relationship, but even our relationship with ourselves, using journaling has been really helpful for me, like post divorce, of just starting to get to know myself. And, but man, I never thought how much AI might be able to start to pull out like the thoughts and the beliefs that maybe aren't serving you, or a story that you keep repeating that you can rewrite so that it supports you in a direction to heal and not bring yourself down or question yourself.
yeah, it completely changed everything for me. I said, oh my gosh, if I ever chose to date again, which is, I mean, it would have to be a special guy for me to
Mhm.
entertain him right now. That's at least this is where I am in my mindset.
Yes.
If I did choose to date again, I would absolutely go that route.
Mm-hmm.
It could be for anything. Let's say you're trying to
Absolutely.
make new friends.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're trying to start a new job and who you feel self-conscious about, who you
Right.
want to be around at work. You could
Mm.
do it for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think that's really an interesting use of AI to help us. And, to your point, I think it's so healthy that you are taking an indefinite period of time, recognizing that you are enough for yourself. Like, you don't need to seek out a new relationship in order to feel whole, to explore the world, to do things that bring you joy. I I think I did a good job my first year single, just exploring and having fun and doing things that lit me up. But
Mhm.
after that year, there was a little bit of a fear of being alone, and I don't think I sat with that enough. And I did kind of get into a few different relationships, which took a lot of growth in each relationship because I started to see patterns of how I showed up,
Mhm.
patterns of the type of people I was drawn to that might not have been the healthiest type of person for me. And so I think you learn in relationship and you learn with time by yourself as well. And both are so important.
It's true. I really can't stress it enough that you are enough. And
Mhm.
it's, I mean, I'm on a full on journey. I'm excited I'm starting to be excited
Yeah.
about who I'm going to be.
Hmm.
I hired a financial advisor. I, that is just something I wanted to do. And I basically told him, this is what I want. I want to live for free and I want to travel the world. So do what we need to do. And he says, well, we should
Yes.
look into getting you a multi-family so the rent can help pay for those, luxuries in your life. And that's just my world.
Yeah.
Could be anything for anyone. People, I know that that's not for everybody, but that's something
Mhm.
that I want for me. And
Absolutely.
and no matter what journey anyone's in, it's all okay. As long as
Yeah.
you meet the things that you want and the things that you
Exactly.
need and how, oh my gosh, I'm growing. Because I have a thing where I've said for a long time that the day you stop growing is the day you stop living.
Exactly. And in my mind, you start dying because if you stop growing and learning and desiring to travel, desiring to learn dance, desiring to explore an art form. But like when you stop doing that, you're just kind of withering. And I think it's beautiful that you have recognized this so soon after your breakup because it is pretty quick. And um I think it's you're lucky that you didn't sit for some people can fall into focusing on the story and going back over the relationship for so long without balancing it out with what brings me joy because it's important to excavate and do therapy and learn, but you also have to balance that with things that bring you joy and fill your cup so that you don't get overwhelmed with the weight of it all.
It's, I mean, yeah. And I have my moments. I started to recognize a lot of things like Sean gave me a lot of body issues and I'm trying to work on that now. I never had those kind of issues. My parents were very focused on loving yourself no matter what. And now I'm in a place where I'm like, oh, I have to learn to love myself no matter what shape I'm in.
Yeah.
And then it also, I have to, things that I have to work on is I can't be on social media right now. No matter what people are saying, is that you know, there's a lot of, well, I'm Team Monique. And these are people who were a part of my life and knew Sean. And I love that people saw me when I couldn't be, when I was in a place that was dark. I love that people saw that light, but it
Yeah.
still hurts so much to be in that circle again. And
Yeah.
until I feel okay about coming back out, because I would never shun anyone. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not that kind of person. And
Yeah.
but you do need the time. You need to heal fully. And
Mm-hmm.
I need to, oh my gosh, this is a really bad confession, is that he his YouTube is still connected to my YouTube. And I went on to see what he was doing.
Oh, wow.
That
That's
is,
interesting.
you don't want to do those kind of things.
No, you do not.
You see things
You
I
just don't want to
not
see.
good.
No.
It's
It,
no,
it's
don't do it.
it's yeah, you want to they are now out of your life and they can do them and you do you and you learn by looking back at the relationship, but what they're doing now when they're not with you is not your business. I always say my ex had a girlfriend who is now his wife pretty much right away. And luckily for me, she blocked me and blocked me from his accounts and her accounts. So there was, and I wasn't curious enough to find ways to see it any other way. So it was just like out of sight, out of mind. If she hadn't done that, I think sometimes it just would have popped up or something. I wouldn't have had the strength to fully block, I don't think. And I think at the time I thought, oh, I don't want to like block. That's a sign of weakness on my part, or um, we're still amicable. I can handle it. But like, I don't think I would have understood how difficult it would have been to see them traveling and I remember at the time thinking she's so immature that she has to block me from and now I'm like, thank you so much. That was the best gift you gave me because I had no vision into their world and I didn't need it. It would have just hurt me. So, as hard as it is, I think the having as little awareness of what they're doing, it is so helpful.
It's really helpful. Like he's dating someone new. That's when it really hit me, when it was really over, is when he started dating someone pretty soon, because they can't be alone. And
Yeah. Mm-mm.
she's 12 years younger than me. And he wants to try and have a family really fast within a year. I remember him telling me that. That was one of our last conversations. And
Wow.
I just
And
said,
he had no awareness that even saying things like that to you could be hurtful.
it, yeah. And it was, and I can handle things like a champ, but
Mhm.
he would send me pictures thinking it was going to be okay. And he thought that we would have some kind of like immediate friend relationship. And even when he called me on my last, called me in April 1st, called me and he said, "Hey, I want to let you know that um, my girlfriend doesn't want us to have any kind of communication. So from this day on, I'm blocking you, and your benefits, my health benefits, are going to be terminated as of today. And you're going to need to get insurance right away, and your phone plan is going to be disconnected. And any kind of ties that we have together are going to be suddenly discontinued."
Ever.
And I have been trying to piece myself together since that time. Like, just okay, I need health insurance.
Yeah. He
I need
didn't
a
have the
phone plan.
decency to give you a month. Like, hey, I want to give you 30 days to like figure things out, but it will, yeah. That that's just a reflection of the type of person that he is. And then
Yeah,
again, you look back and you're like, God, how did I stay for so long?
it's true.
Yeah.
He said things like, I told him that he needs to really work on his empathy. I've said that over and over and over again. And it's really amusing because that conversation, he said, I'm just trying to be empathetic towards her. And I was like, you're trying to use my words to make yourself feel better when I
Yeah.
know you have no empathy.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's fine. And I was like, you know
Hmm.
what? It's fine. You can do whatever you want to do. I still, to this day, what is it, May 7th, I don't have insurance. I'm still going back and forth with my health insurance plan, which is fine. My insurance will give me benefits because it's considered a change of life event. It's just
Right.
I have a lot of specialists that I'm seeing. I'm trying to figure out which health plan is best. And
Right.
you have to wait 2 to 3 days for them to get back to you. And then I find out my FHA is, you have to use it all in this year, and they're going to switch it to a limited FHA, which is only for dental or vision. And I'm like, wait, I don't have dental problems, but I guess I can buy new glasses. Like, there's all
Right.
these things that are happening that you're trying
No.
for yourself to have together.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
exhausting, all for him to be like, it's great, I'm
Hmm.
in a so much better place.
Yeah.
And the phone call ended with, "We're still friends." And I said, "We're not friends. This isn't how you treat your friends." And
Exactly.
said, "Well, I still think you're a good person." And I'm like, whatever. Bye,
Hmm.
Sean. It was
You're
just
like, I didn't need you to tell me that I'm a good person. I know in my heart that I'm a good person.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And coming back to the concept of there was a jealousy of your joy. It's so interesting. I think sometimes people can be drawn to you. The reason they're drawn to you in the relationship is because of your joy and light, that the world excites you and you have this curiosity and desire to explore and find joy in so many things. But then that they almost want to like cage that joy into their own, they want to possess it. And if you're going to explore that joy without them, the jealousy is like, that's not fair that you can feel that happy or joyous. And it's an interesting contradiction of they're drawn to it and then they want to like dim it.
Mhm. Yeah. I hate that he dimmed it for so long. Exactly what you said. because, you know, I'm the kind of person that, because of my curiosity, I end up in some really fun situations.
Mm.
And I don't limit myself. Obviously, there's safety, but
Yeah.
I don't limit myself. And
Yeah.
if someone wants to have a conversation with me, I will have a conversation. These are
Mhm.
things that all you can meet some really beautiful people,
Yeah.
and it's and things that I've learned at the end of all of this is that I think isn't talked about enough is women will really show up, and they really pull us back together again.
Mhm.
And I think people don't recognize that enough. I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many friends who weren't even my closest friends showed up and they wanted to piece me back together again. And
That's
when I, as soon as I
beautiful.
realized it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, where could
Mhm.
we be? I knew I've known this has happened for centuries.
Yeah.
But the fact that I can now see it so clearly, I think that
Yeah.
the women in your life don't don't leave them out. They really
Mm-mm.
pull everything back together.
Exactly. And I think that is something that we do unconsciously sometimes uh make less time for our friends when we get into a relationship. And in the beginning, that's normal. The honeymoon phase, you want to be with that new person, but it is so important to balance and make time for the female friendships because they they do lift us up and help us through the difficult times, but also they help us provide perspective. Like I'm sure like I there were so many conversations I had towards the end of my marriage that started to help me see that um that one, this might not be as healthy a relationship as I thought, and or that I could be okay not in that relationship. And you need those sounding boards and being open with your friends. I feel like for so many years I protected my ex so I didn't open up and speak about the relationship and the challenges. I kind of just harbored so much of it on my own, my pain or my questioning. And I realize now that it is important to share with your girlfriends your frustrations or your challenges to help them. They can help you like see like, is this something real that you need to address, or is this relationship supporting you? But if you don't open up and share, then th- they can't sometimes help you see, dude, that red flag, that's a big red flag. Don't ignore it, you know?
Exactly. Their intuition is a very strong thing, and women intuition is a really powerful thing. Oh my gosh, don't turn down that volume.
Mhm.
Uh, It's there to protect you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that for sure, keeping in touch with your friends, even opening yourself up to friends, it's something that's really valuable. I, I'm, some people are like, well, I don't meet that many girlfriends, or I'm not very good with women. I've heard these things over and over again. But it's not like I walk outside and make new besties with the first woman I see. It
Yeah.
takes time. And
Yeah.
I've met women along the way. And the women that I've met along the way have, even if it's been years since I've met another quality woman that I just am really in sync with, then I'm
Mhm.
like, those women are still women in my life, no matter how
Yes.
long it took for me to find them.
Yes.
And when you find them, oh my gosh, hold tight.
Hold on to them. Absolutely.
They're so important. It's
Yeah.
so yeah, these are, taking it day by day. I still have to, I have to, I have to not talk about him when I'm trying to have a social interaction with my friends.
Yeah.
I just went to a cafe where we had hot chocolate and I couldn't help myself and talked about Sean. And I'm like, why? Why is he in my day today? Why?
Right.
Why is he in my social gathering with hot chocolate? Why am I allowed
Yeah.
something?
Right.
In time, it's good for you to get it out too. So it's a really, you gotta,
It's a
whatever
balance.
you can do.
I feel like it's almost like you have to titrate. You have to process, and healing is processing and relooking, but you have to titrate that with, okay, I am not thinking about the relationship or anything. I'm just gonna like let myself be fully present right now in this, wherever I am. But then sometimes it is, you have to bring it back in because it's like an onion. You are peeling one layer of the onion at a time, and then you have to process all the stuff that you find at that point of the onion. And then there's another layer. And so, I mean, I am years and years out from my marriage and many relationships post my marriage. And there are still things that it will bubble up and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I I didn't realize that that was something that I never processed, and that hurts now that I realize it. And okay, I have to do some more work. So it's grief, and grief comes at different times, and there's so many aspects to grief. There's the sadness, the anger, the denial, the acceptance, and they it's not linear. So it's you have to be very patient and self-compassionate as you go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, grief is, you're going to go through that. And then it's not to mention the brain neurons and all their connections of this person who was in your life. Now you have to retrain your mind that it's no longer a part of your life. It's wild. This whole
Mm,
thing with how your brain works is you really have to retrain it.
yeah.
It's, and that's something I've been learning too, is that you have to, your your brain is so used to having this person here and this is your circle and this is who you're attached to and relying on and your safety net, and
Yeah.
um and
And
they're
the way you
yeah,
do things, the way you run your house, that might be tied to the way they liked it, and you adapted or adjusted, and you are like, wait a minute, I don't like doing things in my house like that. I don't have to anymore.
it's
Or something they told you that then you believed about yourself and totally internalized. And all of a sudden, you get to question that belief about yourself because that was their perception of you and they told you and you believed them, but that doesn't mean that it's true. And those beliefs take a while to pull apart, but
and the voice in your head, like you could still hear them talking
mhm,
to you, or when you're getting ready to do something you hear, no, Monique, you
mm,
hear these things.
yeah,
And I'm so happy to say that it's not there anymore. He's not there anymore. So,
yeah,
so I know that I'm getting better because
yes,
that voice isn't there telling me no anymore.
yes,
He's not showing up in my dreams anymore. There are things that I know that I'm starting to go in the right direction.
yeah,
But it's true. You have to be gentle with yourself. I've been doing a whole bunch of like, when I think of self-care, I was like, all right, I'm going to go get a facial.
mm,
I'm going to go get a massage. And these are, oh my gosh, please do that. Since
yes,
I've been doing this whole thing, since I've been going down this whole rabbit hole of sleep hypnosis and therapy and just trying to retrain myself to be exactly who I want to be and everything's going to be okay. I started
mm,
realizing maybe I should, sleep hypnosis, you have to kind of get your mind into it. And then I realized, wow, I'm doing pretty good at this. Maybe I should look into meditation. Whatever direction you go,
yeah,
especially if it's a healthy direction, I would
yeah,
encourage it because I mean, I have no idea the person I'm going to be in a year. And it's kind of
exactly.
exciting. because
Yeah,
I'm now
it's
opening
so
myself up to
exciting.
this.
Yeah, opening up to anything that comes your way that like say yes and try. And you might be like, "Oh, I tried it, didn't resonate for me. I didn't like it." But you try and you explore and you stay curious and curious about the feelings that are going to come up, like and not judge them. Like
Mhm.
you might cry and need to be sad one day, and that is okay. It doesn't mean that you've reverted or you're not healing. Like it is a process. So yeah, just not judging yourself as you go through the process. Like there isn't a right or wrong way to go through it.
Yeah, I've been doing exactly, absolutely. Me personally, I've been watching it. I usually like true crime, and I have realized I can't watch true crime right now. It's too negative. I
Yes.
need like really positive things,
Yeah.
to get me through this. And I like
Yeah.
comedies, and bring back things that make you feel good.
Yeah.
Um, it's yeah, anything you could do.
Hmm.
I bought affirmations. I bought Oprah's affirmations. They're now, it's funny that you should say, just say yes, because that was the quote that I had today from Tina Fey. If
Oh,
you start with saying
nice.
yes,
Yes.
see what happens after that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I tried so many things and I'm so grateful because I found things that I didn't know that I would, and how much I also had to grow in my ability to uh be connected to my body and my nervous system. I didn't realize that I harbored so much anxiety. And so I've been working on that for many years, and I'm still a work in progress, and that's okay. But yeah, and another thing that I worked on was accepting that I wasn't perfect in the relationship and that there's a lot that I would I do differently now, the way I show up in a relationship. And so being okay with looking at the relationship and recognizing that you can learn where you might have really like not helped the dynamic. And even if that other person was flawed, like why did you fall into a relationship with someone who had so many attachment style issues? Like what was it within me that thought that that dynamic was going to be healthy or supportive? And yeah, it's just it can be a beautiful process as and a very painful process, but both can be true.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's, I will say one thing, it will never happen again. And
Yeah.
I think that that's a really positive thing to walk away from. To
Yeah.
recognize, and that's something that I've been doing with the attachment theory, just to recognize how to be more secure myself and to not allow others' insecurities to affect me.
Yeah.
And that's a great boundary already. So
It's so important. I love that. Learning that boundary and then learning how to hold that boundary. I remember I read a book called Boundaries and I was like, I don't even know what it's like. It was such a foreign concept to me. And so the idea of setting boundaries was it took years for me to even be able to grasp what that meant. So yeah, it it just it's all a learning process and a growing process. But yeah, knowing that you will never settle or stay in a relationship that doesn't support you and provide the basics that you need to stay connected to who you are is such a an important place to get to.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Well, Monique, I just want to say thank you for being so open and honest and willing to open your heart while it's still very raw. And maybe in a year we can do a follow-up and you can talk about the next level of the onion that you unpeeled and share about some of your volunteerism in South Africa and all the other exciting travels and adventures that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would like that very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Mhm.